I'm experiencing, well, first of all, I'm experiencing ducks and little birds everywhere. But I'm experiencing this like unfathomable emptiness. It's like the divine keeps triggering up one layer after another of like ego force, of like this old energy that I used to be run by. She really knows how to do it too. And it's like that layer comes up and it's in a panic, it's in a frenzy. Sometimes it grabs the wheel, you know, and I just go for a ride with it like, oh, I'm riding with this fear program for now. Just witnessing the whole time, bringing awareness to how everything's playing out when that part has the wheel, how it feels. And then through seeing through it enough, it just kind of perishes. Like another ego force, another layer of ego force energy. And then I'm just left with this kind of emptiness in my being. Oh, it's like where that place was residing in my body, temporarily it feels empty. And like there's just nothing there anymore. And then as I surrender to that feeling of emptiness, of like the void, where there used to be like this chunk of ego force energy, you could say, of programming, as I surrender to that feeling of emptiness, it starts filling with light and just this like innate sense of joy and peace. And things that were like really pressing and really urgent, you know, not that long ago, just like are gone from my consciousness, because that part of me that felt that the circumstance was really pressing and urgent has evaporated through experiencing out. It's not like a bypass to peace or something where we just push away stuff. No, it's like the opposite. It's like tantra. It's like we're experiencing out. We're in the fury of that place. We're in the hurriedness of it. We're in the it's got to be solved right now type of energy, right? But we're in it with consciousness. We're in it. We're in it, observing it as well. We're not totally lost to it. We're just watching this part of us act out through the body, because the body has to go through certain motions on the path for it to fully wake up. It's like we can already know all there is to know, in a sense. Like we have fully awakened consciousness abiding here in every moment, but it's the body that needs to wake up. And for the body to wake up, it has to play out certain dramas, you know? And it helps if the body's playing out those dramas, but we as enlightened consciousness are just holding a space for it as it's happening. And anyways, I was just sitting in my car, or laying in my car, and I was just feeling so empty. And at first the mind had like a little, kind of almost like a concern about it. Like, wow, we're so empty. Do we need to do something so we can like fill back up, in a sense? But then as I surrendered into the emptiness, I just realized there's just so much death happening. So many layers of fear programming just dying. And it can feel kind of sad. It's like, I was realizing earlier, or just now, it's almost sad mourning the parts of you that were so convinced that something outside, something in the external was going to do it for them, you know, was going to bring about wholeness or everlasting satisfaction or infinite peace or something like that. It's almost sad to let go of those fantasies, because when it arises again, like this notion like, oh, if we go here, we're going to feel great. Or if we just attract this person, we're going to feel amazing. It's almost kind of like bittersweet to just, you see through those things so instantaneously when these parts of you start dying away. And I was just kind of mourning that, like, dang it, I can't trick myself into thinking that something outside of me is gonna fulfill me. For long anyways. Because that was kind of an exciting phase. To think, oh, I'm going to go here and it's going to be everything I need. And in a sense it is. When that's really alive for you, when that's alive in your body, it kind of is. It's like your karma. You have to go experience these things out. So to know, that's how you come to know in your bones they're not what you're really seeking. You have to go get into that relationship that feels really alive and exciting. And it has to just go up in flames. You have to go to that destination that that you feel is calling you. For you to realize, oh, it's not in a place either. Whatever's alive for you is alive for a reason. It's because you need to go experience that out so that you can know that it's not the thing. But it's kind of the thing because it's the thing that brings you one step closer to God. So that's why the path of Tantra and the path of a lot of spiritual teachers, what they'll say is follow your highest excitement. It's that's kind of where it leads. It leads to burning through your karma. It's follow your highest excitement into the relationship. And then you realize, okay, it's not the relationship actually that's going to do it for me. Follow your highest excitement into this endeavor, that thing, or whatever. Because like I said, the body has to wake up. The body has to play out its drama. It has to go through the play. You're in a divine play. You got to play along in a way. But to be conscious of it. Go to what's alive, but be very conscious of hey, what's here for me? And so it's bittersweet after a while of doing that. I mean, I've lived hard. I've went all in on this path of really going for it and following what's alive, It's my soul's been on a mission. It's just if it feels alive, my fucking soul just goes in a straight line. Getting chills saying that. And because I've just gone in a straight line every time to something that feels alive, even if it's completely irrational and people around me are what are you doing? It's just something in me knew. It's no, I know this is the path to something. I know this is important. I've got to go experience this, even if it doesn't make sense, whatever. And because I've done that, you start to get to this place where you're in your bones, you're the mind can't trick you anymore. And nothing feels that alive in a sense in the same way. Because how can it? It's it's burned away. You've burned all that karma away that was telling you your happiness is in something outside of you. And when you believe it's in a woman or a twin flame relationship or going here or doing this, when you believe that's your happiness, it's going to feel really alive for you to do, and you should go do it. You absolutely need to go do it. And I'm not saying things won't feel alive for me again, or that I don't have more layers to burn through, or something might just grab me and whoa, look at that. I'm just saying I'm going through this mourning process in a sense where I can see through the mind's projections. The mind might project, if you do this, you'll be whatever. And it's just it's a bittersweet kind of place. And it's just where I'm at right now. I don't know how it will evolve and change from here. I'm just speaking in real time. But it was so interesting just surrendering to the emptiness and realizing how much ego force has been emptying out. And you just, the depth of peace is really astonishing. And it's interesting, I keep kind of seeking, what's the next alive thing? But the only alive thing, at least for now, and I'm really checking in as I speak this, because I always want to speak as honestly as I can with you guys and myself. So that's the point of this, integrity. The most alive thing, it really just becomes God. Just focusing your attention on God. And that's where all this aliveness, your karmic path of aliveness leads you. And that's why some souls just want to burn right through all that stuff. They want to go through everything they need to go through so they can actually just start focusing on God. It's like, that's what all this stuff does. If you live a tantric life and you really go for it and you really live life fully, it just clears the runway so that you can just really bring your focus and dial your focus in on God. And then, yeah, when your focus is on God, you still might be a world traveler. You still might be in a lot of relationships. You know what I mean? It's not like you don't live life or you just sit still. Maybe you have a period like that. I'm kind of having that kind of period myself of stillness and reflection and contemplation. There's this part of me that wants to, that old part that's kind of dying, that is like, what's the next thing? But the point I'm making is when you really start focusing on God, it's like, yeah, then it's like God will take you places. And like I said, I'm moving into a different phase in a sense. But my intuition is like, maybe it doesn't have that huge excitement to it. Maybe it's more of just equanimity. It's just more natural. It's just more like peaceful. I'm like, yeah, okay, now we're floated. We're gonna flow into this existence, not because there's something in it that I think is going to bring me the ultimate happiness, but because it's what God is just doing through me. It's like, oh, I'm just watching it happen. It's my intuition is you start moving with more of peace, more of a slowness, a steadiness. Whereas when you're on the tantric path and you're kind of new in it and you're just moving, it's almost, you're just burning through stuff. And it's just like, whew, and it's fun, it's exciting. It has a stimulation to it. It has an addiction quality to it. To where when it falls away and you start moving in a little bit of it or a lot of a different way, you can kind of be like, oh dang, that chunk fell off. And then it's like a little depressing for some parts of your humanity. Like, oh shit. No, all the spiritual people were right. Like all the great saints were they were actually right. It's only God at the end. And part of you was like, sure, yeah, whatever. But you were hoping they were wrong or something. Because you were hoping you would be able to find it in the external. But it just gets so simple, yet profound and incredible. Beyond words. But it's like those parts can't move you anymore. Those parts that are like so convinced that whatever it is they need are outside of them, you know? And that is bittersweet, because it is a fun ride while they're moving you in a way. And well, you suffer a lot because you have to. That's part of the deal. You do suffer a lot. It's like the end of suffering is when your path to God is cleared. Not that there won't be pain, and sure, you'll still suffer, but not the same type of suffering where you're suffering your mind's projections, where you're suffering off. Only my mind's projections could be fulfilled, then I'll be happy. That's the kind of suffering that falls. Because you just see through it. I'm a little sad almost, like, oh man. But there's a joy, there's just an innate joy and a peace though when you see through my heart. I can just feel my heart emanating joy and peace as I see through it in real time, you know? So yeah, live your tantric life. Go all in. Do the things you need to do. And then your life just starts being given over to God. And the mind has all kinds of opinions about that too. All right. I love you guys.